Hello all, and good day to you. Roger here with Grubus Games Unlimited, the creator of Dungeon Crusade, and I first want to say I hope everyone is doing good today. And of course, I greatly thank you for your interest and time in checking out the next video in our Spotlight series, which I'm calling it Origins. Also, I'd like to sincerely thank everyone for checking out the introduction video to this series. There were some very nice comments, and I'm very grateful. And it just seemed like everyone loved that video. So, thank you very much. I genuinely mean that from the heart, guys. You know, this is just a great season in all of our lives to be able to enjoy something as grand and epic as Dungeon Crusade. And I think you can see from just that introduction video, I honestly set out to give fellow gamers and people something so new to experience and enjoy, in our gaming life. But it was a real team effort with a fantastic Kickstarter platform, the world's greatest backers, and people pledging for the game, and of course, all of the amazing artists. So we all did this together. And as I said in the introduction video, we are on the verge of going into mass production with the game directly following the promotional phase. There is a link to the Dungeon Crusade Pledge Manager page in the description of this video if you'd like to find out more information on the 3 editions of the game and a few add-ons being offered at this time. So let's get on with this next video in the series that I believe you'll find pretty interesting. I'm calling this particular video Origins, and what I would like to do is share a part of my life with you and let you see some of the board games, PC RPG games, and some of the movies that inspired me to create Dungeon Crusade throughout the years. I think we are all going to have many of these games in common, and ones we have played over the years. So let's go back a bit in time, guys. Before our rogue hero Palum ambushed her first orc siegebreaker. Before the heroes discovered the guardian Red Widow's lair in the Cavern of Lost Souls. Before our barbarian hero acquired the legendary weapon known as the Axe of 1,000 Deaths. Before our bard hero Matari smashed open one of the many crates in the dungeons of Avalon and discovered 500 gold. And before our ranger hero Cain Redfeather smashed open another crate and was bitten by a Blackrock viper. Before any vagrant minion converted into a raiding minion, causing them to escape the dungeon, to raid the village, thus raising the terror level by 1. And yes, even before the hero's fetch hound Albus delivered some much needed healing potions in their time of need. That was a lot of befores, but here's where it all started for me with Dungeon Crusade. Yep, that's me, being thrown around by the evil sorceress Kimberly. Little did she know she was throwing around a would-be crusader. And that is me now. But getting back to the early years, when I was that young, I saw an absolutely fantastic movie called Jason and the Argonauts. I loved every bit of it, but the very end of it just blew my young mind away. If you've never seen this classic movie, do check it out sometime. But at the very end of the movie, Jason and a few of his comrades faced off against a small army of skeleton warriors that were raised by an evil necromancer or sorcerer. I clearly remember seeing this and was just thinking, what the heck? I was just blown away by it. To this day, skeleton warriors are my favorite fantasy monsters of all time. And rest assured, I made sure Dungeon Crusade was packed full of different types of undead sorcerers and skeleton warriors. But my point is, this is what got me into the fantasy genre and wanting to find out more about it. Throughout my young years, my parents had gotten me other games that were fantasy related, but on one Christmas, I had received an Atari 2600 and one game that really took it to the next level for me. The game was Adventure. To this day, I still adore the box art and get a sense of happiness just looking at it. I remember playing this game for many hours straight, searching for the golden chalice, exploring the white and black castle, finding the sword to slay the green, yellow, and red dragon, all the while making sure the bat didn't steal what I was carrying. Hopefully you have played this game and know what I'm talking about. Around that time, I had gotten another incredible game. Not a video game, however, but a board game that was this incredible computerized tower in the center of the board. The game was the most outstanding Dark Tower from Milton Bradley. I'm sure many of you watching this video have played Dark Tower. This board game, or rather computerized board game, was way ahead of its time and most certainly drew me even deeper into the fantasy genre, but more so the fantasy adventure genre. Fast forwarding a bit, in the 80s I picked up what would be my most favorite board game of all time. The game was Dungeon Quest. Now some of you out there who know this game knows how brutal and deadly it is, but that's what I love about it. This game holds so many fond memories for me, and I get very nostalgic just thinking about it. But how I played this game solo carried over to Dungeon Crusade, actually. When I solo it, I play with all the heroes, not one, but all four. Even way back then, I loved controlling a party of heroes, and I've shared this solo mode with many other people. Another game I picked up a few years later is the most awesome and iconic Hero Quest. This game needs no introduction. Just like Dungeon Quest, I fell in love with this game, and again, I came up with my homebrew how to solo it with running all four heroes. I'm sure many of you have very fond memories of this game also. For the next few years, I played some old school Nintendo games, such as Ultima Exodus, Final Fantasy, and a game for Sega Genesis called Shining in the Darkness. Believe me guys, I could name so many other games, but this video would have a seriously long runtime. But one particular thing that inspired me for creating and developing Dungeon Crusade were many games from that golden era of PC RPGs. I drifted away from console gaming and took up PC gaming. I was absolutely in love and consumed with games like Eye of the Beholder, the Ultima series, Might and Magic, the Wizardry series, Icewind Dale, and one of my all-time favorites, Baldur's Gate, and many others. But Baldur's Gate was simply amazing. And please know, I am a huge Diablo junkie. I love all the games in the series. Back in the board game front, a game came out in 1995 that again I got deeply into, as many gamers did. The game was Games Workshop's Warhammer Quest. What a fantastic dungeon crawl experience this offered to people. And like the other games I mentioned, you could run this game solo with controlling a party of heroes. To this day, I still love this tough-as-nails old dungeon crawler. If you've never tried this, do yourself a favor and give this one a try if you can. There are so many other games I could mention I've enjoyed and that inspired me throughout the years. Whether it be console games, board games, PC games, or MMORPGs. One other thing that hugely inspired me in creating Dungeon Crusade is the awe-inspiring work of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. To me, there will never be a fantasy movie that tops this absolute masterpiece. There were a few classic scenes in these movies where I gave a tip of the hat to in Dungeon Crusade, and I'd like to share them with you. If you remember seeing a battle between Aragorn and Lurtz, there is a scene where Aragorn pulls out a hidden dagger and stabs Lurtz. In Dungeon Crusade, I created a special ability for our ranger hero, Cain Redfeather, called Hidden Dagger. When an enemy puts damage on Cain, Kain can then activate Hidden Dagger and have a chance to put damage back on his adversary. There's another scene where Arwen is on horseback, and across a shallow river there are many Nazgul, or ring wraiths, that are pursuing her. But I love the scenery in this particular scene, and it inspired me to create the location in Avalon called Ren's Crossing. I wrote a piece of lore about how a famous battle took place there with Ren Osus, a renowned hero in Avalon, and how she fought against all odds with her fellow comrades. But getting back to the games I aforementioned, that gave me that experience of controlling a party of heroes in a fantasy adventure dungeon crawl setting, and I loved it. With these games that inspired me, I wanted to use my creativity, imagination, ingenuity, and passion for this genre and create a more significant board game experience for fellow gamers and people. I wanted to give them something that had a hell of a lot of passion baked into it, tons of creativity, imagination, immersion, thematic storytelling, and make sure it was fun, challenging, and truly an innovative experience for them. As you may know, my goal was to have Dungeon Crusade appear as a retro game, but with a hint of modernization to it. I must give a massive thank you and kudos to all the amazing artists for their stellar work. They were a genuine pleasure and honor to work with. But I wanted Dungeon Crusade to fit right in with those board games I loved growing up and pay homage to them, Dungeon Quest, Hero Quest, and Warhammer Quest in particular. So here we are now with Dungeon Crusade Book 1, Genesis of Evil, fully completed. This was quite a journey, guys, in creating this game. I've met so many nice and awesome people along the way, and of course all of you here on YouTube. I'm someone who will always be eternally grateful for this opportunity to work with some of the best artists out there and with the world's most excellent backers and people pledging for the game. But there is still more. I'm hard at work on an upcoming massive expansion for Dungeon Crusade, and we will be working towards creating exclusive and unique plastic miniatures for Dungeon Crusade later this year, after we wrap up the game, of course. So there is much to look forward to. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this Origins video and you found it fairly interesting. I really felt compelled to share a bit of my life with you and let you see what inspired me throughout the years in creating Dungeon Crusade. Our next video in the series is one I'm already working on now and should be wrapped up fairly quick. We are going to see how your heroes can obtain victory in Dungeon Crusade. Then, in the following video, I'll be going over the 5 phases that comprise a turn. I think you'll really enjoy that one. Okay y'all, I hope you have a great day, and I promise I'll work as fast as I can to get back here with you very soon. Talk to you then. Bye bye.